Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. So, I'm going to play this piece for our gathering music today. I would invite you to just enjoy the music. And if you want to sing, you can sing. If you just want to sit with it, you can sit with it.
Thank you, Ollie. This is Ollie's first time to be our accompanist, and and that was a hard song, which I requested. When I heard Marty's topic was 4,000 weeks, I'm like, which you'll hear more about shortly, but I thought of 525,600 minutes, which I thought was the name of the song, but Seasons of Love, beautifully done. We're so glad you're here today. Wow, what a great crowd. We're not supposed to be this crowded in early August, but according to historical averages, the second week of August is the hottest week of the year. Let's hope that's true, that it's downhill from here. It is hard to believe that school is starting. Boo. Some have already started. My kids started Friday, and I think some start tomorrow, and I think Fayetteville starts Tuesday. Do you know, actually, there was a poll done. Most Americans agree that school should start after Labor Day, but it doesn't. So I don't know if they included it. True. I don't know if they included parents in that survey. A lot of parents are okay with it. But we're glad you're here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville, and we like to think we're kind of a unique place because everyone really is welcome here. It's not like you're welcome and then we're going to ambush you. You're welcome. Whatever your beliefs, if you believe in 0 gods, 1 God, 3 or 1,000, whoever you love, whatever the color of your skin, wherever you happened to be when your parents had you, we love you and we're glad you're here and you're welcome. We don't think we have all the answers. We have questions, and I hope you do too, and together we try to find maybe a better answer than we've had up till now. So, if it is your first time, you don't have to do this, but we invite you to fill out a white card, mainly so we can put you on our email list that goes out every week, and you can drop that in the offering basket later. Also, later in our service, we have a time of joys and concerns where people drop a stone representing a joy, a concern, a milestone. If there is something you want to write down and either have shared publicly or you just want the leadership to know about it, that's what these are for, and you can bring it up at that time. We have usually about a dozen or so folks joining us online, live, and others who join us later. Hello out there. And you are welcome also to write down your joy or concern in the comments when we get to that part of the service. I don't see any young kids, but there may be already in the nursery. But young kids are welcome either in the service, in the nursery, on the playground, wherever. I should mention, by the way, I'm not Kate Kowalski. We had time to fix it here, but Kate, unfortunately, has a stomach bug, which brings something up, which a couple members have mentioned to me, that if someone is contagious, that you really should stay home. Be like Kate, because we want to see you, but we want to see you healthy. So there are people here with compromised immune systems, so if you're contagious, think you might be contagious, watch us. You can watch us online. Well, Marty Fatak is speaking for us today, and it is always a delight and a joy to have him with us. We're blessed to have so many in this fellowship who can speak well and are willing to do so. So we look forward to learning about 4,000 weeks.
Jean/Kate is going to help me light the chalice. It is on the podium up here or in your order of service. Please, love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Marty Fatak. Appreciate you coming on this hot Sunday morning to be part of this. I'm going to talk about 2 books today, both of them by Oliver Burkeman. One is called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals, and the other one is Meditations for Mortals, 4 weeks to embrace your limitations and make time for what counts. These words come from the second book. The most liberating and empowering and productive step you can take if you want to spend more of your time on the planet doing what matters to you is to grasp the sense in which life as a finite human being with limited time and limited control over that time is really much worse than you think. Completely beyond hope, as a matter of fact. You know that cloud of melancholy that sometimes descends when you're awake in the dark at 3 in the morning, perhaps, or towards the end of a frazzled Thursday at work, when it seems as though the life you'd envisioned for yourself might never come to fruition after all? The magic begins when you understand that it definitely won't come to fruition. An important psychological shift occurs whenever you realize that a struggle you've been approaching as if it were very difficult is actually completely impossible. Something inside unclenches. It's equivalent to that moment when, caught in a rainstorm without an umbrella, you finally abandon your futile efforts to stay dry and accept getting soaked to the skin. Once you see it's just unavoidably the case that you'll only ever get to do a fraction of the things that in an ideal world you might like to do, anxiety subsides and a new willingness arises to get stuck into what you actually can do. Once you're staring reality in the face, you can take action, not in the tense hope that your actions might be leading you towards some future utopia of perfect productivity, but simply because they're worth doing.
Okay, our opening hymn is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. It's number 361 in your gray hymnal. And rise if you're willing and able. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Thank you. You may be seated.
So, our story today, The Whale Who Wanted More, by Rachel Bright and Jim Field with the illustrations. And if I could, I think you're going to love these illustrations, but they'll pop anymore if we turn out the lights. Max, maybe those two upper ones. There you go. Yay! The Whale Who Wanted More. Under glittering waves of a vast ocean blue, a beautiful world is hidden from view. And there in the cool and the quiet of the deep, a great gentle giant was stirring from sleep. With a hubbub of bubbles, he opened one eye and let out a long, lonely, rippling sigh. For when Humphrey awoke, he remembered his quest, one that pulled at his heart and pressed at his chest, a lifelong search for, he didn't know what. He just knew it was something he hadn't yet got. He rifled in shipwrecks and rooted through treasure, scooped pretty shells which he'd polish for pleasure. But whether his haul was enormous or tiny, the next day it just never seemed quite as shiny. So he never felt satisfied, that was for sure. And no matter the bounty, he just wanted more. But the more he amassed, the more lonesome he got. He knew it was wrong, but he just couldn't stop. So he drifted without any sense of direction, till his wanderings washed him one day to perfection, a rainbow of reefs kissed with speckles of sun, where all kinds of critters hung out and had fun. There were glistening fishes, crustaceans galore. There were mollusks and dugongs, don't know what that is, and urchins and more. The coral was studded with flotsam and jetsam. Humphrey just wanted to dive in and get some. Meanwhile, on this reef, once a magical home, chaos and trouble, it bubbled and foamed. Since with so many creatures all crammed in one place, there were too many neighbors and not enough space. They all bickered and snippered, they pushed and they shoved, and so did not notice the shadow above. Except one with a curious stalk of an eye, which luckily always gazed up at the sky, a crab with quick wit and a brilliant mind. Crystal was smart and eternally kind. "Look up!" Crystal shouted. "Look up and look out! The whale who wants more is out and about." But all were so busy with one gripe or another, they hadn't got time to look out for each other. So Humphrey, he plunged in the noise of the brawl to fill up his longing once and for all. "Help!" they all screamed, gripped by panic and fear. But as everyone froze, Crystal's thinking was clear. "Whale!" Crystal shouted. "Whale! You must stop!" She yelled it so loud that she thought she might pop. "Always wants more, but what are you really wanting it for?" Well, Humphrey was utterly taken aback. This feisty young crab stopped him still in his track. He thought very hard for the first time in years as he gathered his voice, so he fought back some tears. "I don't know," whispered Humphrey. "I think that my goal was to feel all filled up and, well, happy and whole." "You know," replied Crystal, "I think you might find that happiness comes when you're caring and kind. Perhaps," she suggested, with one pincer uncurled, "you might have a gift you could give to the world." Humphrey, he hung on her every word, and deep in his soul a melody stirred. He remembered a lullaby taught by his mother, echoed through time from one whale to another. "I was given one gift when I was brand new, but I've never had someone to give that gift to." Then he opened his mouth, let go of his doubt, and an achingly beautiful tune tumbled out. The turtles, they circled, the dolphins were playing, even the seaweed was dancing and swaying. And as harmony touched everyone who was there, they remembered that balance takes patience and care. They had been fighting and poking and griping so long, they had forgotten they all sang the same ocean song. Humphrey, he knew then he wanted to stay, and at last all his longings, they had faded away. From then all was rhythm and peace on the reef. For one clever young crab, it was quite a relief. She befriended the whale who perfected the knack of taking the time to give some things back. Yes, that whale stopped collecting and made a great start at doing the things that filled up his heart. So perhaps true contentment is not about stuff, since we all need so little to have quite enough. The end. Okay. All right. If we could, Max, get those lights back on. Thank you. It's time in our service for joys and concerns. So this is a time where if you want to come up and drop a stone, and Melly is going to help me with the stones, but take a stone or more than one, And dropping them in the water symbolizes, the ripple symbolizes the sharing of what's in our hearts going out to each other and to the greater world. If you have also a card to bring up, you can hand that to me. So, Ollie, if you would play us some music. Okay, David, do we have any online today? Omni Center, 7 p.m. It's a remembrance of the dropping of the atomic bombs. Omni Peace Center. All right. Did we drop some stones for those who shared from Facebook? We should do that. You did? Thank you. I forgot to say that. Let's drop a few more for the unstated joys and concerns on our hearts today. And some more for those we will encounter in the coming week. And let's take just a moment, if you pray or just meditate for 60 seconds as we think about everything that's been shared. One of our privileges as a free fellowship tradition is to provide all the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal well-being. You are now invited to share in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation.
Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night.
Yes, thank you, Ollie. Appreciate that. So, it wasn't that long ago that I made a mistake. Now, I make mistakes all the time, and I bet for one or two of you have made mistakes on occasion too. But this was a big mistake. This was a kind of mistake that changes everything. I found myself standing between two mirrors. Now, you know what happens when you stand between two mirrors. You can see the front of you, what you normally see, and you can see the back of you, what you normally don't see, but other people do. Okay? Now, before we go too far, I just wanted to tell you that I was fully clothed. So your imaginations, keep your imaginations in check there, okay? So I was able to see the back of me, and I was able to see the back of my head, and I was shocked. What I discovered was I no longer had a bald spot. I discovered that I now have a bald area. A bald area. There was no way that it could be called a spot. I hadn't known it before, but of course, everybody in here did. Sometimes we learn things, and after we learn them, we see everything else differently. The picture I had of myself in my imagination changed, and I could not go back to seeing it in the same way. This is how I felt after I read 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. None of the ideas were entirely new, but they hit me in a way that caused me to see things differently. 4,000 weeks is his estimate of the average lifespan of human beings, 76.9 years, if you do the math. Now, being Unitarian, we could argue with that number. Okay? In Arkansas, in 2021, the last year I could find data for, the average lifespan for males was 69.7 weeks, 3,625 weeks. For females, it was 75.6 years, which is 39,031 weeks. An overall average in Arkansas in 2021 was 72 and a half years, 3,770 weeks. We know that the average lifespan means that half live longer and half live less. But the point is not with the exact number of weeks that any of us has, but the idea that our time on earth is limited, but our ideas about what we have to do and what we want to do are practically limitless. Because there is a limit to the length of time we will live, all of life comes down to a problem of time management. How are we going to manage the time that we have? For many, the words time management triggers thoughts about efficiency and productivity. They do for me. I have always been big on time management, maybe even addicted to it. I was what Berkman would call a productivity geek, getting a thrill whenever I could cross something off my list. Okay? It started in high school with to-do lists. Then in college, I added calendars and schedules. And when I started working, I started time management systems like Daytimer or Franklin Covey. Then I had apps on my iPhone, iPad, and computer. So many ways of organizing what must be done and when, and all the end goal with the end goal of maximum efficiency and maximum productivity. I thought, and I was led to believe by those who created the systems, that if I just became more efficient, more productive, I would get everything done. And then I could relax and enjoy my hobbies and friends and family, safe in the knowledge that everything had been taken care of and I could get on to the meaningful part of my life. I gave this strategy a good shot, about 50 years. And then I read Oliver Berkman. He said that while I had not completely wasted my time, I was actually creating more problems than I was solving. I was doing more, but experiencing less. Oliver Berkman was a time management specialist who wrote articles for magazines and newspapers. He used the strategies himself to maximize his own productivity and made recommendations based on his experiences. Over time, he discovered that all these time management techniques were based on a mistaken belief about efficiency and productivity. A focus on doing things, on being productive, just leads to seeing more things that need to be done. And there is an unending list of things to do, books you could read, podcasts you could listen to. Do one or read one or listen to one, and 5 more take its place. Every time-saving device that was ever created, microwaves, cell phones, email, have just led us to fill the time with other activities. A productivity mindset makes you feel you have to speed read or listen to podcasts at twice normal speed to get it all in. It makes us think we must be productive, we must engage in meaningful action, we must make everything we do the best possible use of our time. It creates a joyless urgency. With a productivity mindset, no matter what we do, we suffer. We connect our self-esteem to what we have done and then feel inadequate for not doing more. We neglect relationships because time with people can be remarkably unproductive. Not counting the people here, of course. We develop imposter syndrome because we know that everyone else has done more and is more prepared. We fear missing out, but also fear participating in the wrong things. We demand perfection from ourselves and others. We experience road rage because the people driving slowly in front of us are directly interfering with our productivity. We finally get so overwhelmed by all of this that we do the opposite of being productive by distracting ourselves with social media. We are constantly anxious, feeling that we are falling behind. The two basic needs driving a productivity mindset are control and denial. We want control to combat uncertainty. I can't control the world, but I can make a to-do list and schedule my week. We want to deny that we have limits to what we are able to do, to how long we will live. We want to deny that 4,000 weeks is a fact. Berkman says that we all want to be captain of a super yacht, calm and in charge, and watching things happen in a predictable way. Instead, we are in a kayak at the mercy of the current, and we have created time management protocols and systems and methods trying to avoid facing this fact. What we are going through in coping with the limits on our lifespan is similar to the stages of grief: denial, bargaining, anger, and depression. The solution is acceptance, embracing our limits and accepting that the world presents an inexhaustible supply of things worth doing, and that by the end of our lives, we will have done virtually none of the things that we could have done. How's that for a motivational poster? I will die having done virtually none of the things that I could have done. And that's why we fight against acceptance. It sounds bad. We want to think that we have options. It's the other people who have limits, who will not be able to do everything they wanted to do, who will have had to make hard choices, who will disappoint other people, and who will discover that it is impossible to control life. There are places I will never go, things I will never do, books I will never read, no matter how long they were on my to-do list. When I read his book, I knew I was getting ready to retire. It seems on the surface that retirement would solve all these productivity problems. It is true that I have more time and more choices available than any other time in my life. But retirement does not stop a productivity mindset. Every time I told someone of my plans to retire, the first question was, well then, what are you going to do? Sloth and indolence never seemed to be the answer they were looking for. There are now about 10,000 people retiring every day, and this trend will continue for at least the next 10 to 15 years. The hope for all of them is that these will be the golden years, where people have the physical, mental, and financial means to enjoy their time. We hope that in retirement, our basic needs will be taken care of. We will feel a sense of order and meaning. We will love humanity and accept the life we had. We will see how we fit in with the generations before us and the generations after. Achieving this is not easy. In a TED Talk, Riley Moynes, that's M-O-Y-N-E-S, said that there are 4 phases of retirement. The first is the vacation phase, where people do what they want. There is no set routine, and the focus is fun, relaxation, and freedom. This is the phase most people think about when they think retirement. It's the phase I'm in now. It lasts about a year. The second phase is feeling loss and lost. People start to feel the loss of their identity, their routine, their relationships, their sense of purpose, and their power. They become depressed and anxious and may experience physical and mental decline. The third phase I'm going to call the Sarah kicks me in the butt phase. It comes with the recognition that something needs to change. People make trial and error attempts to feel meaningful. Not all of these work out, but there can be frustration and disappointment at times. but people keep trying and experimenting anyway. The fourth phase is Valhalla. It's when people reinvent and rewire. They find a mission with meaningful activities and a sense of accomplishment. This almost always involves service to others, often using one's expertise and experience. Things that felt lost in phase 2 are recovered in phase 4. So how long does it take to figure out retirement, to reach stage 4? The rest of your life. Managing time when retired has the same challenges as when not retired. Some people fill up their schedules just as they did when working. Whether you are working or not, here are suggestions for managing your time without falling into the productivity trap. Take care of your body. Get enough sleep. Exercise. Eat right. Avoid excessive alcohol, which is more than I drink. That's the definition of excessive. Okay? Instead of trying to do everything, do the things that count. Stop making being productive the focus of your life. Find things that you enjoy doing, even if they don't have a specific goal. Do things where you enjoy the process. Write poems that will never be published. Play golf without keeping score. Paint, draw. Start doing what you want to do now. Find something that lights you up. Don't wait until when I have enough money or when I retire. There is no guarantee that you have that many weeks left. Do a little bit of what you like doing on a regular basis. Let go of all the middle value projects. These are things that stay on your to-do list forever. They're things that you should do, but you really don't want to. Reading Shakespeare would be a nice thing. I'm never going to do it. Let go of doing things perfectly. Nothing is perfect. Recognize that whatever you do, it will be flawed, and be okay with that. Stop doing things you do now just to prove to others that you are enough. Make connections to others intentionally. Relationships are not efficient, but all the best memories of your life will involve other people. Quit trying to control every aspect of life. It will never happen. Take the approach that everything that happens is either a good experience or a good story to tell later. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, has as habit 3, put first things first. This is the habit of being clear about what you want and trying to resist allowing other people to choose for you out of desires for acceptance or love or belonging. He suggests 4 overarching goals to keep in mind that add to the quality of life: to live, to love, to learn, and to leave a legacy. Living means taking care of your basic needs: food, clothing, shelter, health, financial resources. Loving means relating, belonging, loving others, and allowing yourself to be loved. Learning means developing and growing every day. Leaving a legacy means finding meaning, purpose, and making a contribution. All of us need to find ways to include all 4 in our daily life decisions. As a male living in Arkansas, I'm already over my allotted weeks. I hopefully have about 500 weeks left. Here's what I plan to do. This is my new to-do list. I hope to be less productive and more purposeful, less in a state of denial and more in a state of wonder, more open to experience, more engaged, and more grateful for the opportunities I have. I will try to remember what Berkman says: bold, imperfect action is always at the core of a fulfilling, finite experience. Thank you.
All right, our closing hymn is Spirit of Life. It's in your gray hymnal, hymn number 123. Please rise as you're willing and able. And let's sing. Do it twice. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow with the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow with the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Lovely, you may be seated.
Please join me as we extinguish the flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we turn together again. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Marty. Words of wisdom. And thank you, Ollie, and everyone who participated in the service. Thank you for being here. A lot of things happening, and these are also in your printed order of service. Today, Web of Life group is meeting. All are welcome. We'll be meeting out in the Memorial Garden. And we've...
Thank you to Gene and to Ollie and to Melly for having Ollie, and thank you for your time and attention here today. I appreciate it. So, 4,000 weeks, maybe more, maybe less. The problem isn't our limited time. That's a reality that we have to accept. The problem is our attitude about that limited time. You can't do only what you want, but you can do more of it. Focus on the few things that count. Recognize that a life well lived does not have to result in impressive accomplishments. Few do. What you are doing now may be more meaningful than you think. Carl Jung said, "Life is the way you make for yourself, which is never prescribed, which you do not know in advance, and which simply comes into being itself when you put one foot in front of the other." Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna sing Seasons of Love again. Get up, move around, sing, dance. Feel this with me, please.